Let's take a look at the top 5 graded Tennessee Titans in this one. Linebacker Kenneth Murray with a elite 90.1 overall grade. Wide receiver Calvin Ridley with a 77.2. Defensive tackle T'Vondre Sweat a 73.7. Guard Dylan Radins with a 72.6. And then cornerback Jarvis Brownlee Jr. 71.8. Will Levis in this game a 63.6 on Houston's side of things. Edge rusher, man, a lot of edge rushers in their top 5, starting with Will Anderson with an elite 90.5 overall grade. Edge rusher Derek Barnett getting in the mix as well with an 84.6. Safety Jimmy Ward, number 3, with an 84.0. Wide receiver Nico Collins coming in at number 4 with an 81.3. And then rounding it out with another edge rusher, Danielle Hunter with a 77.3. Quarterback CJ Stroud in this game a 66.3 overall grade. Outside of the unrealized financial gains, what's your stat that told the story here, Dalton?
I'm going to live with that for a few weeks there, aren't I?
You are. Yeah, you are.
Okay. So I have an issue with the Texans and their offense.
You should, because that's also my stat that told the story here.
So here's mine. Offensively in this game, they scored 3 points in the second half. Okay, they got the Jimmy Ward pick 6, and all that was a big thing. You got the Will Levis play of the week, that whole bit. But on offense, they scored 3 points in the second half of this game. 27 plays, 83 yards, barely over 3 yards a play in the second half. Okay, and this is something of a theme here. Not something of a theme. This is a theme. Trevor, in their last 6 games, they have 1 second half touchdown. 30 drives.
I talked about this last week, and it didn't get better.
It's getting worse. 30 drives, 1 touchdown in the second half. And it was the Joe Mixon 1-yarder last week against the Cowboys that had no consequence at all. 29th in offensive grade in the second half, 30th EPA per play, last in successful play rate. CJ Stroud in the second half of the last 6 games, a 53.7 passing grade. This team, I don't know if I've ever seen it just half to half like this. I don't know what happens during halftime that all of a sudden they just lose the sauce, but
not enough Uncrustables.
They're legit a top 5 offense in the first half of games and a bottom 5 offense in the second half. I don't know what happens here. I might have to dig into this and see if it's anything different or if it's just not anything different and there's no adjustments. Mm-hmm. But this is legit a bottom feeder offense in the second half of these games. They've scored 1 touchdown in their last 30 second half drives. They're just not. It just shuts down.
Yeah,
and it's the same. It's the same darn players that play in the first half and put up 17 points in the first half of this game. What is it? Because it's legit. It's not just the Lions game when they turn the ball over. You go, okay, they turned the ball over in the Lions game. Right. Starting out, the Lions got momentum.
Got to clean it up. Yeah,
but it's every single week. The second half. Even if I go beyond the last 6 weeks, it's the whole season. They're a bottom 5 offense in the second half of these games, and I don't know why, because they're a top 5 offense in the first half. This is a problem. The Texans have major issues offensively, and they might win this division by default, but I don't know how, with the way they're playing right now, how they're getting by the first round.
Yeah, I'm with you entirely, and I'll even take it even further. This offense is hot and cold at all times. I mean, the second half obviously is the main culprit where things really start to stall for them, but 7 drives in this game of 5 plays or less. 7 drives. So a lot of them were 4 plays, 5-play drives, so you can't technically call them 3 and outs. It's 7 drives in this game of 5 plays or less. They had 5 punts. They had the second most punt, which was the second most punts in the NFL this week. And they have 56 punts on the season. That's the 3rd most punts in the NFL. We think this offense, we think the way that Joe Mixon is playing and having C.J. Stroud and getting Nico Collins back and having Tank Dell out there. Obviously, Stephon Diggs is out for the season and they're going through some stuff along the interior offensive line. They got to get way better at that. But we think about this offense, that's way more hot and cold than it should be. And I agree with you. Right now, they are not winning a playoff game. And if there's a time when you would like to be sort of sputtering on offense, it's right now. Because you still have a 2-game lead over the Indianapolis Colts for the division title, and you got 5 weeks to figure it out. So if there's ever a good point to be in this situation for the Texans, it is right now. Because you got time to figure it out, and you got a little bit of a cushion here on a 2-game lead with the Indianapolis Colts. But that doesn't win you a playoff game.
Your other problem is
you'll get whooped in a playoff game. I don't care if you're hosting.
You're going to line up hosting as the 4 seed, probably either the Steelers or the Ravens.
Right.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Right.
No, nobody's going to have fun.
No.
Not with that.
The other guys will.
They will.
Yeah. TJ Watt will have fun.
My most impressive, I'll give a shout out to Jarvis Brownlee Jr. He wasn't the highest graded player in this game, but it's more of just like over the last couple of weeks, I think that they found something here for a potential starting outside corner for them in the 5th round. So it's more of I've been pretty impressed with how he has been able to come along here at the NFL level and be able to be thrust in a starting position. 83.5 run defense grade in this game, 65.7 coverage grade. I mean, he allowed 91 reception yards, he allowed a touchdown, but he had 2 forced incompletions and an interception in this game. So very up and down for Jarvis Brownlee Jr. Not necessarily this game I'm most impressive, but the fact that they found a 5th round corner that they could at least go out there and play, and they know that he's going to be fearless enough to go make some plays for you. So wanted to shout out Jarvis Brownlee Jr. there. And then most disappointing to me, once again, is just the Texans offensive line, interior offensive line specifically. Patterson, Scruggs, Mason, all with pass blocking grades below 56.0, 11 pressures, 4 sacks allowed. We said this last week, and I think we even said it the week before. You're not going far in the playoffs with this offensive line playing the way that it is.
Right, and the run game specifically for me, Joe Mixon, 14 carries for 22 yards behind the offensive line that wasn't blocking. And fun fact, because I had it, I'm going to have it another time today. There have been 3 occasions this season where a team did not gain a first down on the ground. The Texans are one of them. The Texans were also the first one, I believe, in their earlier game against the Vikings. And I have another one. 2 of those 3 are this week. I have another one coming up later in the show here.
Oh,
fun fact. We had only 1 coming into the week, and we had 2 this week. The Texans were 1, and then most impressive. You have to like these Titans rookies. I do like Brownlee a lot. He's a dog. Like that run defense grade sticks out to me too because I think he had the best run D grade of any corner in the country at Louisville last year.
I loved watching him at the Senior Bowl too.
He doesn't
fearless.
He doesn't have the elite tools, but he's an absolute dog. You're right. I love him. Another guy I love though on the inside, big Tavondre Sweat, 366 pounds of just big person in your way. Like that's I don't even know how else to put it. He is just a gap plugger, a solid pass rusher there as well. 3 pressures and a sack in this game. And he's got the 9th best run defense grade of all defensive tackles right now.
I did not know that. Wow.
He is very much like when they drafted him, reminded me, I was like, oh, he could do like the DJ Reader thing where he's just big space plugger. He's not going to have the traditional stats. He's not going to do the Aaron Donald thing where he's got 15 sacks in a season, but his impact on Tennessee's defensive line, especially right next to Jeffrey Simmons, these 2 guys were the reason that I thought the Texans could struggle in this game. They both had good games. Simmons had a sack, as you well know, from our lack of timeliness there, but Sweat also had one, and he's been really good for them as a 2nd-round pick and a guy. I think this Titans defensive line causes a lot of teams problems, a lot of their opponents. I think it's the first problem when you play against the Titans right now, even though the record's not great and they've got a lot of flaws, is how do we block these 2 big guys inside? Tavondre Sweat's been awesome so far.
Yep, he has. Good win for the Titans. Congrats to them. I know some Titans fans are probably like, oh, the draft pick. I'll celebrate the win. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below, so if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can become one today.